I think one of the misconceptions for men, especially around writing, is that there's this idea that it's just a dear diary and writing about the inanities of life and, you know, just silly, superficial stuff. But reality could not be further away from that story that we tell ourselves. Using a journal is really can be a very, very heavy, powerful tool for self-exploration. And I think this is something that men can have a massive, massive benefit from. And one of the reasons why is because we all as humans carry a lot of ideas around identity and what it is and who we are. So, for example, as a man, like, if you look at who you are as a man, where do these ideas come from? What are the identifying elements and where do they originate? So are you telling yourself stories of what a man should be based on what your father said or what your bullies said in school or what your grandfather kind of pushed through? Now, if that's the case, you have to remember that with everyone who's kind of giving you these inputs are coming from a certain perspective. Right? Your grandfather lived in a completely different time when life was very different. Then he passed that down to your father, and your father is then trying to compensate and is living in a conflicted world. And then here we are, all of us relatively screwed in different ways. Now you mix in that with the bullies in school and just generally bad managers at work, and you end up with quite a hefty cocktail of negative influences coming from the outside around what it means to be a man. Now, another element to this is there are, wives, mothers, sisters, girlfriends, grandmothers, everything, who also have these inputs. Now, they have grown up and lived in a life where men are a predator and a threat to them. So that means it's not unnatural for them also to put in a level of fear-based messaging, subconsciously even, this sense that being a man is dangerous. Like you are dangerous to other people, but at the same time, you don't have the opportunity to express how you feel because you don't necessarily feel like a danger, but you're being pushed into this idea that you are dangerous because you're a man. Now, you can't say that you don't feel like that because then you're being a pussy and just get on with it because that's what my father did and that's what my grandfather did. So we're stuck in this situation where it's just really complicated, and that's okay, right? This is the first step, is to understand what are the influences that we've got, and then we can start looking at how do I define myself if I take away all these factors. If I were to be able to remove what all these male influences in my life said, what all these female influences in my life say, if I can manage to squeeze out what media pushes on the idea of identity around being a man, what am I left with? When it's me, a blank piece of paper, and looking into myself and going, what do I want? How do I feel? If I were to ignore everybody around me, how do I identify myself? Because that's the challenge. Because in the end, we have to face up to ourselves. We can distract ourselves with social media, which we do. And we can distract ourselves with alcohol and with drugs and with sex and with pornography and whatever. But the reality is that we still wake up first thing in the morning with our eyes closed, perhaps slowly waking up, and the only person who's there with you is you. So the task here is to get to know you better and to start being kinder with yourself. So my invitation and perhaps challenge is to start that process of exploration, start that process of discovering who you are. And this is tough. I mean, I've been doing this for 30 years. And today, this morning, I was writing things and getting a realization that, shit, here's a pattern that I hadn't seen before. And then I can go into that pattern and figure out what is it. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to be solved, but it means that pattern recognition is something that will help you see the pattern next time in real life, and you get time to avoid the trigger. This is what journaling really is so much about, and I'm going to record another video specifically about that topic. But right now, what I want you to do, if you're a man watching this, take some time with pen and paper and just start thinking on paper about what does it mean to be you. Screw the whole concept, what does it mean to be a man? Because it's so big an idea in this context of masculinity, femininity, etc. Just take some time to look at what does it mean for you to be you. That's what I want you to do right now. And please do drop a comment in below. Let me know how that feels. Does that, just even the concept, trigger you? Or is it something that makes you go, wow, actually that's interesting. I want to explore this. I really would love to hear about this more, because it's very, very important to me, and it's very important to the world, because you as a man have an opportunity now to take a step into self-exploration, and that develops empathy and self-awareness. And if there's anything we really need in the world right now, that's it. Thank you.